as you may know, I completed my playthrough of Pokemon Shield. Today I'm going to walk you through the different Pokemon that I used during my playthrough, my impressions of them before I had them on my team and now after I had them on my team, and who I'm planning on keeping for competitive. Some of these Pokemon I knew I was going to have on my team before I even started playing, but others were kind of surprises. Hey Scorbunny, who was the first one I had on my team? It was you!
I told you you were cute, Dark.
Yes.
Because you're definitely both of those things very much right now.
Yes. Before I even started playing the game, I knew that I was going to start with Scorbunny, and I do not regret my decision at all. Not only did it make the first gym a walk in the park, kind of literally, Scorbunny and its evolutions were all very well designed, and the whole soccer player aesthetic was kind of adorable but also cool, and just I really like this Pokemon. Also, I happened to get a girl Scorbunny on my very first try, which is what I really wanted, and that's pretty rare, so that was very exciting. I had initially planned to re-roll until I got a girl, but I didn't even need to re-roll at all. I nicknamed my Scorbunny Cinnamon, and it was a valuable member of my team throughout the entire game. Now that I'm starting to prepare for competitive, I know that I'm going to want a Cinderace on my team. Obviously, I'm going to want it with its hidden ability, but since that's not out yet, I'm practicing with it for now without the hidden ability. I took the time to breed a perfect Scorbunny. Pro tip, Eevee from Let's Go Eevee has perfect stats when you kind of do that thing where you get the Gigantamax Eevee in your game, and Eevee can breed with Scorbunny. So it kind of works out perfectly once you get that Destiny Knot to get those perfect IVs on the Pokemon. So yeah, my perfect Cinderace is definitely one that I'm going to use in competitive. Next is another Pokemon that I got from a really early route, and I knew from like right away that it was going to be on my team. Like, this is the Pokemon that I knew was going to be on my team before I even picked my starter, and that's Corviknight. Playing through the game, I had a Corviknight that could not Gigantamax, but now I've swapped it out for one that can. Its typing is really defensive, as Steel types usually are, so it came in handy a lot of times when I was facing a Pokemon that I didn't have one that was strong against it super well, but I had Corviknight to kind of just be like, well, they won't be able to hit me, so eventually I'll win! Another Pokemon that I was pretty sure I was going to have on my team, but was a little bit skeptical about, was Yamper's evolution Boltund. Looking at Yamper, I had a feeling it was going to evolve into something cool, but Yamper itself, I was just kind of eh. But when I saw the leaks and saw its evolution, I was like, man, I hope that thing is good. And Boltund is actually pretty decent. It has an ability called Strong Jaw, which boosts all of its biting moves, so you just put a bunch of different Fang moves on it, and it's not too bad. The only issue is that it doesn't learn Ice Fang. If it learned Ice Fang, oh boy, this Pokemon would be good. So I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna take it into competitive because it just doesn't have the coverage that it really needs. But it's not a bad Pokemon, so we'll see. Next was a Pokemon that I didn't plan to have at all on my team. I was kind of mad about it when I was looking at the trailers, but when I actually had it within the game, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good Pokemon. I'm gonna have that one. And that one is Choodle, which evolves into Dreadnought. I knew that I was gonna need a water type Pokemon, and originally I was like, well, Melodic is in this game, so maybe I'll just kind of do an overlap since Melodic is one of my favorite Pokemon. But I thought about it, and I kind of wanted to have new Pokemon on my team and not reuse ones from previous generations. There aren't a lot of options for new water Pokemon in this game. That's probably a good thing, because there's a lot of water Pokemon in general. I didn't really want to go with Barraskewda, even though now that I've looked at its stats, it's actually not that bad since it's so fast. But I decided to go with Choodle and Dreadnought, and they very quickly grew on me. Something about him reminds me of Rex from Mass Effect, where he acts all like tough and I'm this big monster with the shell and roar. Then the inside, like, Rex just wanted to kind of save his people and like really just cared about his group and was kind of feeling sad about them. And I feel like that's the way Dreadnought is, where it's like looks really intimidating and like urgh. But then once you get close with it, like its smile in Pokemon Camp is absolutely adorable. Like, oh my gosh, with its little jaw, and it's just too cute. Plus it ended up being a pretty good Pokemon. Like, it's not bad. Its Gigantamax form is actually really good. It's a water type Gigantamax move that automatically sets up Stealth Rocks. Yeah, and does damage at the same time, like water type damage while setting up stealth rocks. When I've been playing against real people lately, my starter has been this Gigantamax Dreadnought that just goes right for the Gigantamax, sets up those stealth rocks, and just like, it's really hard for the opposing team to do much after you have a Gigantamax Dreadnought with stealth rocks up, like from turn 1. And Dreadnought's kind of hard to KO because not a lot of people bring in like its main weakness, which is grass type. Grass type isn't used very often competitively. So yeah, Dreadnought kind of wrecks pretty quickly. When I saw the leaks, there was one unrevealed Pokemon that really stood out to me. And that was the Applin line, which evolves into either Flapple or Appleton. Whew! Both of those were really difficult to say when you have a speech impediment. Because I have Pokemon Shield, I ended up having Appleton on my team. This is a Pokemon that I don't think that I'm gonna take into competitive because its stats just aren't quite what you need, and a Grass Dragon isn't the perfect Pokemon to really have on a competitive team. But it was super fun to have on my team during the playthrough. I named it after my grandma because she's kind of known for her apple pies. She makes them all the time and brings them to family gatherings, and so I was just like, I gotta name this one after my grandma. It was pretty good in the game when I was fighting against NPCs who don't know what they're doing. But I know if I tried to bring it into competitive, it would probably get wrecked. That being said, I don't regret at all having it on my team. Design-wise, it is one of my favorite Pokemon from this generation. And last but definitely not least, we have Galarian Rapidash. I watched almost the entire Glimwood Tangle live stream. The entire thing. And I just knew I needed a Rainbow Unicorn Pokemon in my life. I was worried that it might not be that good because regular Ponyta's stats are just okay. But Galarian, Ponyta, and then Rapidash wasn't actually that bad in the main story of the game and against like random computer NPCs. It's really fast, and if other people don't know how to handle that, they can definitely get pretty wrecked by it. It has pretty decent type coverage for moves as well. The issue with it though, and why I probably won't bring it to competitive, is because it doesn't really specialize in either attack or special attack. It kind of tries to do both, and based on its move pool, it kind of needs to do a little bit of both. So I just don't think it's gonna be able to stand up against some competitively trained Pokemon. So that was my team for Pokemon Shield. Now I know that for this game, people had really different teams from one another. Like for Matt's team, he mostly had Rillaboom and Sirfetch'd, and he used Hawlucha a lot, and then he would sub in different Pokemon depending on what gym. Like he really liked Gyarados. He also used Galarian Rapidash quite a bit, and he also subbed in Haxorus a lot, who he calls Haxorus because he's convinced that it needs to have the dinosaur pronunciation. I'd love to hear all about your team compositions, or if you haven't played the game, what you think your team composition might be. I've done videos about other things, but I'm pretty much primarily doing Pokemon content right now, so if you're interested in that, make sure that you hit subscribe. And you can like the video if you want. That's a pretty cool thing to do, so yeah, bye!